Hello and welcome back to Gunthrack Travels. I wanted to do another update video because I recorded the first set of videos in a large set of batches. I did like 8 videos at a time. Then I had a couple of extras that when I remembered I wanted to talk about the truck. But now it's been a couple of weeks, and by the time the last video comes out, it's going to be like November or something like that. So this is going to come out later than that. But by the time I did a couple of things to the trailer shortly after I made those first set of videos. So, as promised, I did end up doing the closet. That is the first one that we did. But today, I want to talk about ripping out the bottom of my trailer, which is something that I did yesterday, because I've been hearing noises that sound like squirrels trying to scratch up into the trailer. And because I had to rip the bottom piece out, I'm pretty sure it left like openings for them to kind of climb up into. So I did a couple of things that we're going to go through and talk about today. I'm going to go under the trailer real quick and show you the patch jobs or show you ripping out the trailer. I want to show you the water tank again, because now it's exposed and you'll be able to see what I was talking about. And then just the various patch jobs that I did. So let me pause the video here real quick. I'll get into the trailer and we'll start talking about some stuff. Alright, so here we are under the trailer, and we're going to start off with the water tank, because that was one of the big things that I talked about in one of my previous videos. So let me turn the camera around, we'll look at it real quick, and I'll explain to you what happened. Oops, sorry about that. So as you can see, we have a really big 50-gallon water tank. And the problem with it is that this OSB board that you see here, this is actually a direct replacement. The original one that I had split in half down the middle, right? And I decided that since I knew that whatever I bought was probably going to break again anyways, I didn't want to spend a bunch of money on real quality plywood or anything like that. I wanted to come up with a better solution. So as you can see, I replaced the OSB board, and then my initial fix was to buy these thick steel bars that I kind of wedged in between the frame pieces there. But when full of water, those things sagged down quite a bit, and I wasn't confident that that was going to keep it the way I wanted it to be. So I bought these ratchet straps to ratchet everything together, to hold everything, to hold the two frame pieces together, to make sure that the wood doesn't move, and to make sure that the steel bars there also do not move. So this is my setup as it is right now. I don't want to keep it this way. I want to figure out a way to remove the ratchet strap setup from all of this and make it a little bit more permanent and secure, so that I don't have to, because with ratchet straps, you have to come back in here and tighten these back down every once in a while. They don't stay tight, especially once we get to the point where we actually start moving around. So ratchet straps are not a permanent solution. So that's that. And then as we turn over towards this end of the trailer, you can see all of the electrical. That's where all the electrical of the trailer goes up into the breaker box in the living room. So I taped all of that up to make sure that none of the squirrels or anything can kind of climb up through that part. I mean, obviously it's just duct tape, so any determined squirrels are going to make their way through that, chew into it, and climb up into the trailer. But ideally, my hope is that by closing up that hole, it's not an easy pathway to access, and they won't even realize that it's an entry point. So I'm hoping that's kind of what's going to end up happening there. I have a vain hope that they're not going to mess with any of the wiring under here, but I had to get the covering off to get to some of the parts under the trailer, which is why I ended up ripping it all out. Now, one of the problems that I ended up having was that in the process of ripping out the bottom of my trailer, I had to cut it in certain ways that I didn't want to have to cut it, which I think has made it mostly unusable at this point. I can't reinstall it back in the way that it originally was. So to put things back in, I'm gonna have to do some kind of custom setup where I build frames or something and cut the things to size. And then even then, I'm sure that some of the ways that I had to cut it is gonna make it so I'm not gonna be able to reuse all of it. So unfortunately, that's the way that's going to end up going. But yeah. And then further forward, I don't know if you can see it from here. Further forward, you probably can't tell, but there's a hole that goes from the pass-through storage in the front into the bottom area here, so that hoses and stuff can run through in there. I cut a piece of plywood for that and kind of blocked that up, and then taped that up as well. And then, as you can see, well, you might not be able to see. Let me pause and reposition, and then we'll go and look at a couple of other things in the back, and then I want to take you inside so you can see the patch job I did. Well, we'll talk about that in the closet video. So let me reposition and move to the back of the trailer. All right, so we're at the back of the trailer now, and as you can kind of see, this is the black tank above me right here. Don't really want to be here right now because, you know, it's the black tank, but it should be relatively safe. But we have the black tank exposed now, which makes it easy, which will make it easier to service if I need to do anything. But the big thing I wanted to show you back here was this part up here. This is the part where the shower, where that big hole under the shower that I talked about in the shower video. This is where that hole comes down, and I went ahead. There was the problem with this was that with the way that this is all set up, this black covering that you see here, that's all just soft covering. The actual plywood floor is another 4 or 5 inches up. So there was no way for me to cut boards and then attach it to this part. I would have had to have attached it to the floor in the shower. And the problem with that is that the floor, I'm sorry, I keep putting my hand over here on this side of the phone, and one of the microphones is over there. So I'm trying to be more cognizant of how I do my recordings and not put my hand in certain places, but I forgot. The problem with trying to put that in the shower, or do it from the shower, is that I can't do that until I actually remove the shower, and I'm not ready to do that yet, because there's no way to get my drill in there to drill down the holes and anything like that. And it's just not feasible. So my solution for now is just to tape up the bottom, and hopefully no bugs and no big animals will be able to get in through that hole there, and that'll make things better. The only other thing was I realized once I got down here that the furnace vents down into the compartment down here because hold on, because one of the I'm sorry, I ended up touching the camera and I don't have anything to wipe it off with. One of the selling points of this trailer is it's a cold weather trailer, so you can take it in cold places. And the reason why there's a big cover on the bottom is because the furnace vents down into the bottom, into this compartment down here to keep everything from freezing. So I don't think, I think you might be able to see it from here if I can find it. I think it's too far further up, but there's further up that way, down off in that direction. There's a hole, or there's a couple of holes actually. If I remember right now, there's a couple of holes where the furnace vents down into this area to kind of keep everything from freezing. So yeah, that's that. But yeah, I just wanted to take a quick moment to take you guys under the trailer again because a little while after I did that first video where I didn't want to pull the cover down, I ended up deciding to just go ahead and rip everything out because I was just worried about squirrels crawling up into that space and starting to try to gnaw their way into the trailer, and I just really wanted to deal with that. So I've ripped it all out. I kind of went through and zip tied up all the wires and everything so they weren't hanging way down, because when the installers put the trailer together, they assumed that the cover was going to be there indefinitely, so there was just a bunch of wire the extra wire just kind of hanging around everywhere in there. So I had to go through with a bunch of zip ties and just zip tie everything to non-movable parts on the frame and just make sure everything was put together correctly. It was kind of a pain in the butt to do that. It's kind of annoying that I had to do that. It would have been better if they had just done it the right way the first time, but it is what it is. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and end this video. I just want to do a quick update for that. Be sure to click the like button, hit the subscribe button to help us reach that first 1,000 subscriber milestone, and then be sure to come back for the next episode where we're going to be talking about the closet renovation that I did. Yay! See you then.